Are you feeling frustrated or even disheartened that your child was making an incredible progress in their neurological journey, but then suddenly they stalled? Or maybe you even noticed some regressive behaviors returning that you thought were really gone forever. Sleep disruptions are creeping back in, or the emotional dysregulation is starting to resurface. If you're wondering if the care plan is failing or if something's wrong, I want you to take a deep breath in and I want you to hear this fact. Plateaus or even regressions are part of the normal and necessary part of true healing processes. The neurological healing journey is rarely a straight line. In fact, it's more like a roller coaster with its fair share of ups, downs, and unexpected twists. But here's the thing that most parents often miss, is that these plateaus are not a sign of failure. There's actually evidence that your child's nervous system is working through a deeper layer of dysfunction and adapting to a new level of organization. This message is for you parents whose children are on a neurological healing journey. Whether your child's struggling with sensory processing challenges, ADHD, autism, anxiety, developmental delays, or other chronic health challenges, you have noticed periods where there is progress seems to be stalled or even reversed. Today we're going to talk and explain how these plateaus happen, from growth spurts to immune system challenges to even environmental factors and emotional stress. Today we're going to learn how to identify the different types of healing plateaus, understanding the science behind them, and to gain confidence and how to navigate these challenging periods with patience and resilience. As a neurologically focused chiropractor, I see this pattern daily in my practice. Nearly every parent who brings their child in for care will experience what research refers to as a nonlinear healing process. And research on neuroplasticity shows that the brain has the ability to reorganize itself. It will form new connections and in some instances generate new neurons. It's been observed that children will typically experience periods of rapid advancement, followed by consolidation phases where skills are actually integrated. The same pattern applies to the neurological healing journey, where there are 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and it's not a failure. It's part of the process, and it's actually the brain's natural way of reorganizing and creating lasting change to help your child through their journey. We're going to first focus on growth spurts and developmental milestones as a common cause for a plateau. When your child is growing rapidly or mastering new developmental skills, their body's energy and resources may be directed towards physical growth and neuronal integration. During growth spurts, a child's body is going to be working intensely to lay down things like new bone, muscles, and neuronal tissue, which requires tremendous amounts of energy that will, and in very many instances, contribute to a temporary regression because it's diverting that energy from other healing processes. This can show up as challenges with increased moodiness, disrupted sleep patterns, or temporary regression in other areas as their nervous system starts to focus on integrating these physical changes. Remember that growth-related pauses are ultimately a sign of progress, not a setback. Every time your child's nervous system successfully integrates a new skill, it becomes more resilient in the long run. Another significant factor in plateaus are immune system challenges and their effect on the healing process. Fevers and illnesses aren't simply obstacles to progress. They're a sophisticated neurological response that can actually accelerate healing in the long run. It's incredibly important. When your child has a fever, for instance, their immune system triggers the hypothalamus, and that is the body's thermoregulatory center, which leads to an increase in body temperature. And this activates immune cells, and it creates an environment that's inhospitable to pathogens. During this particular process, the nervous system diverts its resources to orchestrate the immune system's response, which can temporarily manifest as lethargy, irritability, or an overall seemingly disconnected individual. The fever process stimulates and releases neurotrophic factors, which are special proteins that actually support neuronal growth and plasticity, potentially accelerating neurological development after recovery. This is why I will often see a major breakthrough following an illness, and there may have been a brief period of regression immediately after, but in the long run, it is so important, and it's the design of our body's healing mechanism. Now, there are environmental factors like toxins and mold exposure that can significantly impact the neurological process. Now, most children with pre-existing neurological challenges already have a nervous system that's been dysregulated, making them more sensitive to environmental toxins. There's things like pesticides and heavy metals in food, to flame retardant chemicals in furniture and VOCs in cleaning products. These accumulate in the body and they disrupt the normal neurological function. There's things like mold exposure, whether from hidden leaks or poor ventilation, releases mycotoxins that can lead to cognitive impairments and neurological signs. These environmental stressors can contribute to temporary plateaus in progress as the body works to process and eliminate these substances. Now let's address how emotional stress and this busy life challenge that we have in our country, these things will lead to setbacks in so many different areas, because major transitions, starting a new school year, subtle shifts in the family dynamic can trigger the sympathetic nervous system's fight or flight response in children with pre-existing neurological challenges. This stress response releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which can quickly become overwhelming for children with pre-existing nervous system dysregulation. Over time, this chronic state of stress can contribute to developing subluxations, which are areas of dysfunction within the nervous system, and that's going to further perpetuate the cycle of dysregulation. This is why we often see regressions during periods of change or high emotion. The nervous system is allocating resources to manage the perceived stress rather than to continue to make developmental progress. In times of change, you just have to be patient and work on controlling the environment as much as humanly possible. Now we're going to finally discuss how medication and therapy overload can contribute to plateaus. Many medications are designed to suppress or override symptoms rather than resolve the root cause of the neurological imbalance. It acts like a mute button, and it shuts off other systems of the body that are struggling underneath. The largest issue with this mute button through medication is that it's not just the click of a remote. It's caused by a chemical reaction placed into the body. The idea that placing a chemical into the body to improve one's health, it's just crazy. Medications save lives in an emergency situation, but it never makes the body healthier, nor does it allow the body to perform better in the long run. The longer you medicate a symptom, the deeper the problem embeds itself inside the body. When we really begin a true healing process to restore the brain-to-body connection and balance the actual nervous system, it's like the body begins to wake up again. Sometimes that wake up temporarily resurfaces underlying patterns that were in the past chemically treated. Now, therapies can also they can overload an already confused body. Traditional approaches like PT, OT, speech therapy, they focus on educating the body on its limited performance. However, when your child's already in a confused state, the body can't retain the information observed. It's going to create more confusion inside the body, and the nervous system has limited capability and capacities in which it can recognize and prioritize this type of adaptive change. So you really have to be careful of doing too much at once. And the parents that I talk to who come into this practice, they want to do everything at once. And that's out of a good love for your child. But the more external stress that is applied into your body, the more confusion it creates. Now, some children can respond to a lot of new information, and some kids even do better in a busy environment. But for our kiddos who are having sensory disturbances, emotional dysregulation, their bodies need to first focus on the foundational pillar of the nervous system. And then once they get that momentum, their body's going to be more adaptive and responsive. We know that the healing plateaus can be frustrating and really, really upsetting. Please just do not allow it to discourage you. Most of the time, it's simply one or more of these outside stressors just putting a little bit of a hold down on the momentum moving forward. And as the stressor passes, your child's body is going to build more resilience and more adaptability. It's going to blow right past them, and they're going to get back on track to their neurological healing journey. Click the link below in our bio to learn more about neurologically focused chiropractic care.